I would like to talk about what I feel is an elephant in the room. Something that's gone without saying that I think all of you know, and you should know, which is that my son is trans. And many of you have met him. Many of you have known him for years. Many of you have helped me take care of him in this body as I'm a single parent, and sometimes he's been here, especially during late nights when we have a lot to do. And this bill, colleagues, is such an affront to me personally and would violate my rights to parent my child in Nebraska. And I just want to tell you that. I want to stop letting that go unsaid, actually. And there's a couple reasons that I hadn't brought this up, and I actually wasn't planning on bringing this up through the whole debate, but the longer it's gone on, I think I would be giving up an opportunity and some of the power that comes with this platform if I didn't do that and if I didn't talk to you. My son testified on the public record against this bill, and I wanted to share his testimony. I didn't read it before he gave it because, like any teenager, he really doesn't want my help with anything. He really knows best. There's nothing I can say to him that would, he really thinks he knows what he's talking about, and I think you'll see he does. And this was what he said to the committee during the hearing for LB 574. Hello, thank you. My name is Ash Homan, and I'm a trans person under 18, or under 19, I guess. And first, I would just like to point out a quick thing that I think a lot of people seem to be confused on here. Most people cannot get gender reassignment surgery before the age of 18, and the same with hormones such as estrogen and testosterone. And the option for kids under 18, which is puberty blockers, which just pause puberty. And if a child stops taking them, the puberty process will resume right where they left off. And this bill would limit the necessary gender-affirming care for the most vulnerable population at the moment, leaving teenagers more susceptible to suicide, discrimination, depression, and other mental health disorders and problems, not to mention all the people who would need to leave Nebraska just to get this care. So I'd like you to think of the ways this bill would be hurting the state's future generations and taking those ways into consideration when passing other bills that deal with LGBT issues. I'm a trans teen, and I would like to see you guys do better work for the people that will be living in the state you created and will have to fix it for themselves when you're gone. And discrimination has always been a problem for trans people of any age, and all this bill would do is perpetuate this by saying it's a mental disorder with treatment that needs to be pushed until the person is an adult and they can make logical decisions for themselves. Today's youth already have enough mental health challenges already, and we don't need the added stress of having to live as our gender assigned at birth when we don't feel that way until we're old enough to change that. Whatever a trans person starts to feel that way at that age is the age that person should be able to start living as who they want to be. I'm not saying kids should be getting elaborate surgeries and taking permanent hormones at the age of 7. I'm saying that people introducing and passing these laws underestimate how much a child knows about their own body and their own brain. These people need to trust kids to know what's best for themselves. I also find that as I listened to the proponents of this bill, I heard a lot of them talking about when they were young, they were called a tomboy, and they thought of themselves as a tomboy. Being a tomboy and being trans are not the same thing, and they cannot be compared accurately to each other. And gender-affirming care shouldn't have to wait until you guys say it should. It should start when they feel comfortable. And that was my 12-year-old child speaking for the first time to his state legislature in the Health and Human Services Committee. One reason I didn't bring this up, and I wanted to go through the whole debate on 574 without mentioning this, is because there is so much hateful rhetoric about gays being groomers coming from a lot of you. And as an out queer woman, as a single parent, as a person who's not a person of faith, I'm not a Christian, I thought that a lot of people in this body would say, oh, of course her kid's trans, she raised her kid to be trans. I thought a lot of you would say something like, well, yeah, Megan's probably been grooming her kid to be trans. There's probably a lot of people in the balcony who think that. And so I was worried that by bringing up the personal experience of my family, it would weaken the argument, that it would be a disservice to the goals of the bill. There is a prominent business leader in Nebraska who probably all of you know. If I said their name, you would all know who that is, who has a trans daughter. This man and his wife are conservative Christians, they're Republicans, they tithe to all of you and give the little donations that you all expect as conservatives in Nebraska. They go to church, they do everything right to you, and they have a trans daughter. This is the perfect kind of transparent, right? This is a transparent where you guys think, oh, well, I'm not talking about them. Their daughter must really be trans because they didn't raise her that way. They didn't make her trans like Megan made her son trans. So I was anxious about bringing this up, and I thought maybe it would be a disservice to the debate if I did. But this is my life, and this is my reality, and all of you know me, all of you know my family, and I hope that you know that I didn't raise my kid to be trans. I don't understand it. I don't have to understand it. When my son came out to me, you know, the challenges that I dealt with emotionally around that were private to me. You know, that was for me to deal with in therapy and with my trusted friends and advisors. But I was so happy to learn that I had a son and that my child was growing up and revealing himself to me as he is, and that he felt comfortable and safe doing that, knowing that he wouldn't be kicked out of his home, that he would be supported and loved by his family. And whatever the future holds for him, whatever gender expression he wants to have, I don't care. Like, I want to have a happy, healthy son. And that is the way every parent of trans youth feels. Another thing you guys don't understand is the issue of access in Nebraska. My son is not on puberty blockers. My son is not on hormones. My son has certainly not had any surgery. You know why? Because Medicaid denied it 4 times. So you guys think everyone is going to the vending machine in the 7-Eleven, that they're giving out puberty blockers and hormones like candy. I'm a state senator. I'm a woman of means and power and privilege. And my child has not been able to get gender-affirming care. So, like, let's say that. That's the reality of what trans healthcare is like in Nebraska. There aren't counselors making kids trans. There aren't counselors telling parents you have to get your kids on these drugs or else they're going to kill themselves. This is scare tactics. It's satanic panic. There's no truth to it because I lived it. I'm an affirming parent. I have health care. I took my kid to the doctor. We were in counseling for over a year about this. We went to numerous psychiatrists, psychologists, MDs. We did everything right that you're supposed to do, and my kid could not get gender-affirming care in Nebraska. So maybe it's not that big of a deal, right? Maybe you're all worried about nothing.
1 minute.
This goes to show you guys don't know what you're talking about. You literally don't know what you're talking about. You probably don't even know a trans person. You've never ever gone through this. And if this bill passes, all your bills are on the chopping block, and the bridge is burned. Senator Hughes, the bridge is burned. We're not cool. Senator Ibaugh, we're not cool. Senator Brandt, Senator Dorn, Senator Arch, I'm not doing anything for you. Because this is fake. This has nothing to do with real life. This is all of you playing government. When I got to go home to my house and live in my house where I don't play house. We're going to be here, Ash is going to be here, my son, long after Senator Kathleen Kauth is gone from here. And she and all of you have nothing to do with the lives of trans people in Nebraska, but keep playing government. Have fun. Thank you, Mr. President.